All right. Welcome everybody to the Stega podcast. I know we have already posted the first video of the year, but this is the first official video that we're recording for the year. And I'm sure me and my guest, we made it even more special. We,
Yeah.
we made sure that we are matching. Yeah, but our team is not doing that great. But anyways,
Yeah.
let's just get into the
Yeah, it
business.
wasn't really planned, eh?
Yeah, it's a beautiful coincidence.
Yeah.
But with that said, everyone, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
And this will be our first recording of the year. And I'm sitting with my man, Sia. Please introduce yourself and what you do.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Tege. Thank you for the opportunity or the privilege of hosting me. Such a great, wonderful show. As he said, my name is Siya. Goes by the name Siyabulela Tom. But most preferably Siya, as he said. And most people call me Tom, which is my surname. Yeah, it's my surname, and yeah, I also use it as a name because it's short, catchy, easy to remember. Yeah. So I studied professionally. I studied electrical engineering, national diploma at CPUT. I did then further my studies. I did project management, advanced diploma. So currently, I'm working as a electrical designs. Uh, at Astron Energy. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Electrical engineering. Did you always wanted to do electrical engineering?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. So, growing up, the subject choices that we make during grade 10 play a pivotal role in us being who we are today. And it so happened that I don't know whether I should say coincidentally, but at that time, I didn't really have a mentor or a coach or someone to really guide me into which subject will take me to what I want to be. But it so happened that I chose the maths science path. And with that being said, I continued studying grade 11 and went to grade 12. And I developed interest in the chemical side of things, in which I like the physics paper two side of things, the chemistry, your life sciences. So I wasn't into really engineering. And then so came January. In fact, grade 12, grade 11, I was just cruising through. I wasn't really intentional about careers and all that. But I made sure that I do pass because at the end of the day, I know at home parents are going to ask, where are your results? How are you performing and all that. So I made it a point that I passed. But now, when I really had to choose career, I wanted to do pharmacy or environmental sciences. But at that time, when I looked at the requirements and where I was sitting, I was falling short and it was very hard to explain to the parents. So January came, and then now I'm sitting at home thinking, wow, it's already the following year. I'm done with grade 12. I'm waiting for my results. I haven't really applied because I know why, because I wasn't qualifying at that time. So I'm sitting now. So my brother-in-law, he was there at my place, took my results. When my results came out, he took them to CPUT. Never really informed me what he's gonna do or what he's gonna apply for me. Dropped it there, and then I found myself being accepted for electrical. So that's how it all started.
Wow. And then you start doing electrical engineering. What did you kind of like develop love for it, or did you get shocked along the
way? So yeah, that's a good question. So when I found myself there, so one thing I understood from a young age, like I previously mentioned, that I just chose subject randomly, and at that time I chose it because I saw people that were smart at that time. They were going to the maths, science, and all the good-looking girls on that side. So I'm like, okay, let me just follow these people. Let me go there. So I found myself there. So most of them dropped out. they started dropping out. They changed physics into business, maths into maths lead. So now most people that I followed were dropping and all that. Now I'm thinking, should I continue or not? But from a young age, I learned to whatever choice you make or you pursue, you must stick by it and work it out because you're already there. You might as well work it out.
Let's finish what you
So
start.
yeah. So also that it came to when I was at varsity doing electrical, even though at that time I didn't really choose it for myself, but I was already there. And one thing I would say, when I got there, I saw the modules that have been done, and one of them was maths. I'm like, maths, at least I've seen you before, unlike the other subject like
Sure.
digits and other ones.
Yeah.
So I was like, maths, me and you, I'm gonna, I made sure that I passed maths very well and the other ones because I wasn't really physics paper one, the second part wasn't my strong point. I had to extra work hard in order for me to pass.
Sure.
So I had to stick by the choice I made because it was a long. I remember I went out of Eastern Cape for the first time when I had to do my first year. So that drive coming from Eastern Cape to Cape Town, there was a lot playing in my mind. So that's when I kind of what you call it, like a butterfly changing metamorphosis.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's when I really figured out and figure a lot of things. I had a lot of thinking, and
so you played a lot of scenarios in your head.
In my head, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then was there any routine that you did? I mean, you even though it's something that you didn't choose for it, you graduated.
Yeah.
And did you do your BTech as well?
Well, I wanted to do BTech, but
Okay.
at that time it was already being phased out.
Oh, I see.
So from 2020,
Yes.
they started phasing
Doing
it out.
advance. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. And I wanted to ask the question. You graduated.
Yeah.
And even though it was a career that you didn't necessarily choose for yourself,
Yeah.
right? Was there anything that you were doing to make sure that was there any routine that you were doing to make sure that you graduate? And if there was, please share with someone who would be listening so that at least they can also get some wisdom from what you were doing. Yeah.
Okay. I would say for me, one of the most crucial or important ones is association.
Yeah.
Right. So when I eventually arrived, I came a week late from the normal people who came through orientation and all that.
Sure.
So as I was sitting in the class observing everything, I could see who's answering, who's doing that, so I made it intentional that I become friends with one of the smart guys in class.
Yeah.
And by association, you can always or also be in the same level as the people you associate with. So one of them is association. Secondly, for me, I would say understanding yourself and your weaknesses and your strength. So I knew that maybe there are modules that will need more attention than others because I understood where I would fall short, and so I spent more time working on some of the modules that I know that I'm not so strong with, and then less time those ones I know that I know this one from class I can understand and remember the concepts and principles from it. And thirdly, balance. As much as I was studying, I was playing soccer, I was involved in other things. It's very important that you try to balance life and not only focus on one thing. I don't know how, but it works. It works for me because I'll spend time doing something else, and then because of that, I'll want to make up for that time and do with my studies as well.
Yeah, I mean, that formula worked for you. You graduated.
Yeah.
So someone can actually apply the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, these are you've proven results.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you start working.
Yeah.
What is it that you are doing at work? How are you learning to actually? How are you accelerating your growth into understanding the work that you're doing?
Well, in the engineering field, One thing I can
Or
tell,
maybe, sorry
yeah,
for that. What kind of you did your in-service training?
yeah.
Did you did you work at the same place that you're doing your in-service training now?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I remember when we had to do INSEP. So as I said that I found myself in electrical, so I did my first year. I did so as I went on with the course, I started developing love, or I started realizing that it's easier to finish than to go back. You see,
Mm.
so I had that thing in my mind that okay, let me finish. As I'm continuing finishing my studies, then and I was enjoying res life, being a student and all that. So now reality came, boom. I had to look for INSEV. I'm like, I was thinking like working, I've never worked in my life. How is it gonna be in the industry and all that, all that. So yeah, I was placed at Astron Energy, where and that at that time I remember I had an interview. So as I was called for the interview, I was checking what is Astron Energy, and at that time, Astron Energy was it was transitioning from Chevron to Astron Energy. So during that time, I'm trying to search information online. There wasn't much about Astron Energy. It was referring to Chevron, but at that time it wasn't. So I saw it's a refinery. I'm thinking now, electrical refinery. What is this? So I started reading more on the refinery and all that. But the more information I got was about like chemistry and what. And because of naturally that was
Your first love,
my,
yeah.
so I went deep into reading. But I thought, how is this helping me with preparing from the interview? So I was confused now. I'm like, okay, I know what, we'll see it there. So I went for the interview. I was so calm, and because I didn't know, because sometimes when you have fear of the unknown, it kind of hinders your performance. So that time I was just flowing. I was there. They asked me questions. I was flowing. I was relaxed. I wasn't nervous. I was just myself. And
Sure.
then I saw happened. I was one of the people that were picked. We are two of us, and then and during InServe, for anyone who's about to do InServe or doing InServe, that's the best time to learn. And because there's not a lot of expectation from you, because you're just a student, and part of your learning, it depends on you. One thing students should understand, or in service trainings, people is that sometimes they should initiate their own learning. They should ask questions and ask for small tasks, because there's never a small or big task at work. Ask for those small tasks to do them. And I call them, I call them be able to be a runner. If someone
Yeah.
says, go and verify this for me, go and do it, go. The more you do and you ask questions, the much more experienced or senior guys will trust you and give you much more bigger task. And that being said, you're getting experience, and at that time, there are different departments, so you must be willing to rotate. Say, ask from your supervisors, whoever, can I go to that department and get to learn what they do and all that. So you must be able to be a runner and try and rotate around and understand as much as you can, and always create a folder or where you store your information or write down things that you have learned and so on and so forth. But for me, I had the privilege of, we had a logbook that time because I was doing
Okay,
INSEP.
sure. Yeah.
So every month you write what you did for the month, and then you record, and then the supervisor reviews it and they sign. And before they review, they would maybe ask you questions. And so doing that, you're gaining experience and you're learning. Yeah.
And then that mentality of being a runner. Did you where does it come from? And I'm sure you have already explained this. How did it help you on the long run?
So with me being a runner, on the long run, I got to work with people. And I remember when I was doing my INSERV, I started at the workshop. I was working with the electricians. So me being there, and the electricians, they do much more inclusive work, whereby they do physical working and cabling and the stuff. So with that being said, I was also part of them, and I didn't take myself as in I come from tech, I can't be doing this and
Sort
that.
of, sort of an artisan job.
Yes.
Job, yeah.
So I was also getting my hands dirty, working physically with them, following them, seeing what they do. That helped me in the long run to understand the physical infrastructure, electrical infrastructure, and it helps me to be able to read and to understand a drawing because they do fault findings if there's a breakdown or whatsoever. So, and I built relationships with them. Now I can go to them and say, hey, let's go there. Please open this for me. Please test here for me. And I'll be maybe recording or something like that. So it helped me to develop relationships because they know much more than even now I know about the actual philosophy or working of systems and electrical equipment. Yeah.
Okay. You work in a dangerous environment, working environment.
Yeah.
Was it scary for you working in an environment like that? One, and okay, and maybe also explain what do you do on a day to day, on a day to day.
Well, okay. With the first question, yeah, I work in a hazardous environment,
There
like you
you go.
say, because yeah, we don't do chocolate. It's not a chocolate factory or
Sure.
ice cream factory, you
Mhm.
know. So, but with that being said, there are standards, there are procedures, there are things to follow, you know. And then the second part, you ask me what do I do on a daily basis. Well, it depends because of the relationships and the departments, different departments I've worked in. So I would say, okay, on a day to day, I'm gonna give you an example. If maybe there's a project, yeah, the project, and there are ideally three reasons why we do a project. One, if it's a compliance project whereby according to the regulations or legislation we need to improve something, then becomes a project. Or if we want to what's this strategic project whereby we plan to optimize the plant or run something more efficiently or whatsoever. The third one would be like operational project. If there's constant breakdown of electrical equipment where and it's used for operations, so that becomes a maintenance project.
Okay.
So now I'm going to make an example about that project, maintenance project. Yeah. So with that being said, as you mentioned that it's hazardous environment. So I remember there was a project whereby we had to replace a DB, and the DB was EX rated, you know. So EX
Which
means
means
explosion proof. It, like, because of the environment, it, in fact, it was an EX. Yeah, let me leave it there. So the engineer working on that project gave instructions to replace it with a normal stainless steel DB, and the DB was supposed to supply motorized valves. So now I checked what he wants and checked the previous one. So I realized that no, man, I went to go challenge him. Why are we replacing? And before I could do that, because of how busy our engineers, and
sure.
you wouldn't want to just challenge an engineer for nothing, and he's a PR
Sure.
So I had to first sit down and understand what does the sense 60079 talk to when it comes to talks to hex. Hex means hazardous area classification.
Okay.
So with that being said, it means that in a specific area, you need to identify what gases are there, and then what are the sources of release and potential
Because it's
ignition.
of sparks. Yeah.
Yes,
Sure.
yes,
Sure.
yes.
Sure.
So we need to understand that, and then according to that, then you
So the IP.
classify that area, that zone. So I read that and I understood it. So now there's a drawing called a head drawing that shows where's what and which area is classified under what. So
Okay.
when I understood the heck, the standard, the sense standard, and then I looked at the drawing, I could see that okay, this tip is actually falling out of the hazardous
Mm,
area.
mm.
But then again, I'm like, okay,
For the
let me
safety.
just, because of I'm prioritizing safety,
Mm,
and yeah, and also for my learnings at that time I wasn't so experienced, so I came up with my proposal, like, why are we changing this? And
since it was already
so I
there.
thought maybe we compromising, because EX rated things might take time to come
And more
from.
expensive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lead time. Yeah, they're more expensive and their
Mm,
lead time is more. So
sure.
I challenged there. So the engineer then explained more. So I got to learn at the same time. We didn't, in fact, I thought we didn't compromise safety as
Mm,
well. So yeah, so as I'm saying, there's standards, there's specs, and the things that we procedures that we follow to make
mm.
sure that we do things according. Yeah.
Exciting stuff. It sounds like you learned a lot from that exercise. And the question I want to ask now is, what do you love the most about your job?
What do I love more about my job?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I love is that with every project come a different challenge or understanding. Yeah. So as I think I mentioned this, we we learn, and we continually learn, as each project will find maybe there's certain or different requirements, So what I love the most is, I would say, my growth in terms of stakeholder engagement, whereby maybe we might be working with a third party. I think that's where my project management skills came from, because
Mm,
uh, after I did my INSEV, I was an intern, and then during my intern times, that's where I figured out that there was according to my learning and development, there was a gap whereby I needed project management in order to understand and to know more in terms of stakeholder engagement, project processes, and all that. So I then pursued a project management. I studied project management, and now it came handy, because now currently I'm not using it as a career, but I used it as a self development, because I don't really work as a project manager. I don't manage project myself, but I'm using the skills that I got from project management in terms of
applying
bettering
yourself.
my
Yeah.
job that I do on a day-to-day basis.
Mm,
Now I can challenge someone. Now, maybe in the past I used to be much more intimidated. As long as I know and I'm sure about what I'm talking about,
mm,
now I can stand my ground, and but in a respectful way, though. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah. So I learned a lot of soft skills through project management,
Sure.
Excel, and other skills. Yeah.
Yeah. And congratulations for that. For
Thanks.
going for your project management. I think for engineers it's important
Yeah.
because at some point, like you said, that the higher you grow in a company, you need to have these other skills which aid to becoming more proficient at your work.
Yeah.
Uh, which leads to my next question, which is how do you how do you grow in your company, and what are the things that you need to do to sort of make your mark in a sense?
So I would say you must be willing to learn, and like to learn, when I'm saying learn, you must be willing to learn in terms of sometimes you'll be involved in maybe in a breakdown whereby, or in a project whereby it's multidisciplined, and then you need to, maybe electrical needs to supply power to an instrument panel. You need to know a bit of instrumentation as well, because in order for you to do your job, to understand how, because when there's a fault or something is not as per the design, one will say no, it's not us, the other one will say it's not us. So you need to kind of understand. You don't need to know in depth the other disciplines, but you have to be willing to learn and to understand how other related, or yeah, interface, how to interface with other disciplines, because there can be a motor that's coupled with the pump. You need to understand a bit of a pump. That okay, pump. This is what a pump is, and how does it work, so that you can together you can find. Even though you might be fighting at that time, you come to find that okay, because of this and that, these are the diagnoses we should use or we should apply. So you must be willing to learn. One. Secondly, you must be willing to teach other people. Because I would say I was an intern. At the time I was an intern, there were people that were senior to me.
Sure.
I got to learn a lot from them. I know one of my mentors. I think I can mention.
Yeah, please do shout. Give me a shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to Siyabulela. Yeah. So
you have to come on the podcast.
so as much with that being said, I then grew. Now I got to grow, and then there were interns coming after me, and these ones are. Interns are sharp when they come to the industry because they ask. Sometimes you know how to do something or you've been doing the certain way, but intern will ask why. So now you need to go back and go read the standard and then come back and go explain to your intern. So with that, you're
also learning.
Teach others. You are learning as well.
Sure.
They ask you, how did we get to this? You're like, let me go and read.
Sure.
Or let me go and ask someone else, and then get in a background and then go to the intern and ask and answer. So that's that learning and constant learning. Yeah. So you must be willing to learn and willing to teach other people as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what project have you done which was like the hardest for you? And what did you learn from it? Or what did you learn about yourself from it?
Project that was the hardest. Well, out of my mind, let me think. Well, from every project,
like sort of challenging project, yeah.
Well, there's a lot, but yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yes. Yeah.
You want us to move to the next question?
Move to the next one. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking of tools now, right?
Yeah.
I think on your bio you did mention something about AutoCAD. What tools do you need to sort of efficiently do your work? And is something that you can do before you get to the work, or like what set of tools that you are using?
Yeah. Well, when I got there, part of my rotation. And then I was at the designs office, drawing office. So with that being said, I needed to understand first the physical infrastructure of the plant. And then when I got there, I had to understand now the standards that they use in terms of symbology, in terms of how to read and how to. So I had a shortage of skill in terms of now operating AutoCAD. So I then asked for training. I was took for training. I went for AutoCAD training and then came back. But with my technical knowledge of reading and following drawings, I got to appreciate AutoCAD more, because you get this one piece A3 paper, but it will summarize or put down the whole
process,
or system, whereby one, you go to a motor control center and then it shows a motor which is meters away from it. So it kind of puts everything together and makes it easy to understand and to in the future to modify and to find to troubleshoot or fault find when required. And so I got to appreciate that it's a powerful tool that you use to do your design.
Between design and actual work, the physical work, which one do you like the most?
Well, I'm gonna be honest, because I did do physical work.
Yeah, you did get the best of both worlds.
So I realized that Well, it's not for me.
What's that?
I got that it's not really for me. Yeah, so I'm much more of soft skills and yeah, I like.
So you like physical work,
No, 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 no.
or you like the design work?
Yes,
Yeah.
physical work. I don't mind doing it, but
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't want to do it for long because
Sure.
sometimes maintenance can become routine.
Sure.
Because something you go, there'll be what you call something that you call it preventative maintenance.
Sure.
You go and you check something this week, and maybe after a month, or you go and check the same thing if it's still okay. So I would want to learn something new or get a new challenge, or so yeah.
Okay. Do you want us to go back to the same question, or should we close?
Which question?
The one we skipped.
No, it's fine.
It's fine. Eh?
Yeah.
No problem. So, in closing, right? I think we might have touched on most of the questions that we'd planned to talk about. In closing, what has been the recurring theme, and how has it helped you in your growth?
The recurring thing.
Recurring theme, like what has been like a recurring theme? What has been the recurring thing that you have seen from your career or maybe from school, and how has that helped you to grow in your career?
Well, one thing I can say is that school you learn, but you're not really you don't really see the end goal or what you're learning is to become. So
like it's hard to measure it.
Yes.
Sure.
But then again, when you go to a working environment, one thing I can tell you is that there's always resources to help you. There's always people, if you talk and you ask the right people the right questions. So now it becomes a theme of, like I said, association, communication, finding yourself in the right spaces. Sometimes you don't need to be invited. Just get yourself involved. When there's a problem, okay, most of the time I sit in an office, but the minute that I hear that there's a breakdown and maintenance are there, and this is crucial to a certain plant that's producing something, I don't sit in my chair and continue with my day-to-day. I go out, wear PPE, go and get involved, print out a drawing and start asking questions. Guys, did we check this? Did we check this? What are the sequence? What are what's the challenge and sequence of events and so forth? So I get myself involved. So in whatsoever, you mustn't wait to be invited. You must always invite yourself. That's the theme I have. Because at that time, I was telling you, when I was late in at varsity, I came a week late. I sat down, I watched, I observed. I invited myself to position myself to the right people that are in the right, that have the same goal as I have. Because at varsity, there are other people who are not as serious as you would want to be. So I made it a point that I positioned myself in a way that this is going to help me, this is going to grow me, this is going to advance me. So also at work, everywhere, in fact, just in the power of association is very important. You must position yourself in the right things so that you also benefit. And also you mustn't only be a consumer. You must be a contributor in a space you find yourself in. And yeah, I think, did I answer?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much, Ben. I think sort of what I was thinking when you were saying that is the fastest way to accelerate your progress is by association. Yeah. But with that said, thank you so much for coming through. It was really nice having you, and we are rooting for you, and hit your goals for the year. And congratulations, by the way. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Steger.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. It was nice. Please do hit the like button, comment at the bottom what you like the most, and see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I appreciate you taking time and tuning in and be part of our community. We get to share ideas, stories, and perspectives through this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found something valuable in it. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your family and friends. I look forward to connecting with you in the next episode. Until then, take care. This is the podcast signing out. See you next time.